Everything we thought we knew about Gen V might be about to change forever. Episode 7 isn't just another step toward the finale. It could be the moment that flips the entire story upside down. From the truth behind Vought's experiments to Marie's mysterious powers evolving in ways no one expected, this episode seems ready to shake the whole The Boys universe to its core. And if the clues we've seen so far are right, we're not just looking at a fight for survival. We're watching the birth of something that could rewrite what it means to be a soup. Marie Morrow's journey has always been about control, not just of her powers, but of herself. When we first met her, she was terrified of what she could do. Her powers were wild, violent, and tied to trauma. But as the story has unfolded, something has changed. She's no longer just reacting, she's starting to command her power. Bending it to her will in ways we've never seen from any other soup, and that's where the biggest theory about episode 7 begins. That Marie isn't just another Vought experiment. She's the key to something much larger. In every scene where Marie uses her blood manipulation, there's been a subtle escalation. The precision, the strength, and even her emotional control have grown with each episode. It's like her power is evolving faster than it should, as if something inside her is awakening. Some fans believe she might be the first successful hybrid, part natural-born soup, part compound V experiment. Think about it. Her powers aren't like anyone else's. Most soups have clear limits or physical tells when they use their abilities. But Marie, she can control blood, the essence of life itself. That's not just power. That's creation and destruction in one. Vought has always been obsessed with control. Controlling image, controlling soups, controlling power itself. So if Marie's ability comes from a new kind of compound V, one that can bond with human DNA permanently, she might be what they've been chasing for decades. A soup who doesn't rely on injections or unstable genetics, but someone who naturally embodies the perfect fusion of human and super. It's possible that in episode 7, Vought will finally make their move to capture or reclaim her. We've seen their pattern before. When someone becomes too powerful or unpredictable, they turn that person into a project. Another layer to this theory comes from the emotional symbolism of her powers. Blood in this world is more than a weapon. It's a metaphor for guilt, trauma, and connection. Marie's power is literally tied to her past, to her pain, and to the people she's hurt or lost. The more she heals emotionally, the stronger her control seems to get. It's as if her journey toward forgiveness is unlocking her full potential. That's what makes her story so different from the other soups. She's not just trying to be a hero. She's trying to understand herself. Now imagine episode 7 pushing that idea to the limit. Maybe Vought reveals the truth, that Marie's powers weren't an accident at all. Maybe she's the result of a secret program meant to create a new generation of soups who can self-sustain their abilities without injections. Or maybe she was the experiment that went right, the one they lost control of. That would explain why she was placed in Godolkin in the first place, under observation, disguised as an opportunity. If that's true, episode 7 could be the breaking point where Marie learns the truth, that her existence was engineered. That even her trauma might have been manipulated to trigger her abilities. And knowing Marie, she won't take that quietly. We might finally see her step into her full power, not out of fear, but out of rage and purpose. The moment she realizes she's not a mistake, she's a weapon that refuses to be used. And if that happens, it could set up a showdown unlike anything we've seen in the Boys universe. Not just a fight between soups, but between creation and control. Marie, the living symbol of freedom, facing off against the company that built gods in laboratories. And the most chilling part, she might win not because she's stronger, but because she's finally learned that her blood doesn't make her a monster. It makes her human. Cate Dunlap is one of those characters who makes you feel everything at once: sympathy, fear, anger, and sometimes heartbreak. She's not just a villain or a victim. She's both. And that's what makes her story so haunting. From the very beginning, Cate's power wasn't just physical. It was deeply psychological. The ability to control minds is more terrifying than any laser beam or explosion because it destroys something you can't rebuild: trust. Every time she touches someone, she becomes their master, their manipulator, their puppeteer. And now, after everything that's happened, the biggest question going into episode 7 is whether Cate will find redemption or fall deeper into ruin. Cate's character arc so far has been one long descent into guilt. Her betrayal of her friends wasn't just a twist, it was a complete breakdown of identity. She believed she was helping them, protecting them from pain, even when she was taking away their freedom. That's what makes her power so tragic. It's built on good intentions twisted into evil outcomes. Every lie she told herself, that she was doing it for their good, that she could fix things later, has started to collapse. And in episode 7, that collapse could reach its breaking point. There's a pattern forming in Cate's story that mirrors the classic God. Complex, the moment when someone begins to believe they have the right to decide what's best for others. We've seen this in Vought's leaders, in Homelander, and even in some of the scientists behind Compound V. But what makes Cate different is that she didn't seek power, she was given it before she was emotionally ready to handle it. Imagine being a teenager who can erase pain, rewrite memories, and make anyone believe anything. That kind of power doesn't just corrupt, it consumes. And the guilt that comes after, it doesn't fade. It festers. The biggest theory about episode 7 is that Cate's guilt might finally push her toward a desperate act of redemption. Some fans think she sacrificed herself to save the others, maybe by using her powers in one final, irreversible way. We've already seen her lose control, pushing her abilities past their limit. So what if episode 7 forces her to use them on a scale we've never seen before, controlling dozens, maybe hundreds, to stop a disaster? It could drain her completely, leaving her broken or even brain dead. A tragic redemption that ends with her finally freeing everyone, including herself. But there's another, darker possibility, one that fits perfectly with the boys' universe's moral chaos. What if Cate doesn't seek redemption at all? What if she embraces the monster everyone thinks she is? We've seen glimmers of that already. That cold calm when she manipulates minds, that eerie confidence when she knows someone can't resist her command. If episode 7 pushes her to the edge, she might finally stop feeling sorry. She might decide that control is the only way to protect the world, that freedom leads to pain and obedience is mercy. That kind of twisted logic is exactly how tyrants are born. It's possible that Cate could become the boys' universe's next big antagonist, not out of hatred, but out of conviction. A villain who truly believes she's saving people from themselves. And what makes that idea so powerful is how real it feels. Cate represents the side of power that hides behind kindness, the manipulation that wears the mask of love. She's the person who hugs you while taking away your choice. Visually, episode 7 could show this transformation in subtle ways, her voice steadying, her eyes sharper, her touch slower, but more deliberate. The softer, trembling Cate might be gone, replaced by someone who doesn't hesitate anymore. And when she says, "Trust me," it might not sound like a plea, it might sound like a command. Of course, redemption and ruin aren't opposites in Gen V, they're reflections of the same wound. For Cate, forgiving herself might be impossible, and that's what makes her fate so unpredictable. Whether she dies saving her friends or lives becoming their worst fear, her story will end the same way, with silence. Because in a world built on noise, blood, and lies, the scariest power of all is the one that makes everyone else stop thinking for themselves. Episode 7 could finally decide which version of Cate we see, the broken girl who wants to make things right, or the God who decides she knows best. And whichever path she takes, it won't just affect her, it'll define the tone of the finale. Because if Cate chooses redemption, there's still hope for humanity in Gen V, but if she chooses ruin, then the message becomes chillingly clear. In this world, even the kindest heart can turn into a weapon when touched by power. Vought has always been the smiling face of corruption, the perfect mask for chaos. To the public, it's a company that gives the world heroes. But underneath the bright colors and pure slogans lies something far more sinister. An empire built on control, lies, and the illusion of safety. And now, as Gen V's season 2 moves toward episode 7, all the clues point to one chilling truth. Vought's agenda isn't just about creating soups anymore. It's about replacing humanity altogether. From the very beginning of the Gen V storyline, Vought's presence has been like a shadow, always there, even when unseen. Every experiment, every training program, every student opportunity at Godolkin University was designed for one purpose: to test what happens when you turn power into a system. Episode 7 might be where that system is finally revealed, the moment when we see Vought's plan in full light and realize that every character, from Marie to Jordan to Cate, was never free. They were all part of the same controlled experiment. Think about how carefully Vought plays both sides. To the public, they sell heroes. To the government, they sell weapons. To the soups, they sell purpose. And to themselves, they sell lies about control. But behind closed doors, what they've really been working on is the evolution of Compound V, a new generation of soup genetics designed not to enhance humans, but to replace them. There's been enough subtle dialogue and visual hints, the new serums, the research files glimpsed on screens, the hidden labs under Godolkin, all pointing to one theory: Vought isn't just experimenting on students. They're engineering the future. Episode 7 might be where Vought's true experiment is exposed. Imagine discovering that the entire university was built not as a school, but as a containment facility, a place to monitor, manipulate, and breed a new type of soup. Every tragedy, every death, every accident that's happened could be part of their data collection. They've been watching how powers evolve under stress, how trauma affects control, and how morality breaks under pressure. To Vought, these kids aren't people, they're prototypes. And that's the kind of horror that doesn't come with monsters or blood. It comes with a smile and a contract. One of the most chilling details fans have picked up on is how Vought has started referring to soups as assets in official language. Not heroes, not partners, assets. That means every soup's DNA, every drop of blood, every mutation is property. Marie's blood control, property. Cate's mind manipulation, property. Even Jordan's dual form might represent a new phase in Vought's research: adaptability, the ability to change form and survive any environment. It's like Vought isn't creating individuals anymore. It's creating templates. Now, if you follow that trail, the theory becomes even darker. Some fans believe Vought's endgame is a reset of civilization itself. By creating a generation of soups who are controllable, loyal, and perfect, they could slowly replace humanity from within. No wars, no politics, no resistance, just engineered obedience. It sounds like a conspiracy, but in Vought's world, control has always been the highest form of power. The real question isn't whether they can do it. It's whether they already have. There's also the mysterious connection between Godolkin's student disappearances and Vought's secret labs. Remember those missing students no one talks about? The ones who dropped out or transferred. What if they didn't leave at all? What if they were taken underground to test the limits of Compound V's newest version? Episode 7 could show us glimpses of that nightmare: rooms full of containment pods, students being studied like lab rats, and scientists whispering about stability, rates, and genetic retention. It's the kind of truth that could make every character question their own existence. But Vought's genius has always been its ability to control the story. Even when exposed, it survives. When heroes fall, they sell new ones. When truths leak, they spin them into hope. That's why episode 7 might not just reveal their plan, it might show how deep their control goes. Maybe even the rebellion itself was designed by them, a fake uprising to filter out the strongest subjects. It's the perfect trap. Let your experiments think they're free, and they'll reveal who's most powerful, who's worth keeping, and who's expendable, if this theory holds true. Episode 7 won't just be another twist. It will redefine the entire Gen V series. Every character arc, every moral choice, every moment of rebellion could be exposed as manipulation. And the scariest part, it means no one is truly good or evil anymore, just programmed. That's the brilliance of Vought's hidden agenda. It's not about power. It's about rewriting what it means to be human. So when the episode drops, pay attention to the small details, the background screens, the documents, the scientists' conversations. Because the real story of Gen V might not be about heroes or villains. It might be about a company that stopped selling dreams and started manufacturing gods. And episode 7 could be the moment when those gods finally realize who their true creator is. There's a strange silence that comes before a storm, that eerie pause where everything feels too calm, too controlled. And if the whispers, leaks, and clues are true, Gen V Season 2 Episode 7 might be the eye of that storm. Because this is where the past could collide with the present. This is where a familiar face, someone we thought was gone, unreachable, or too powerful to return, might step back into the spotlight. And their arrival could change everything we thought we knew about the boys' universe. In every great story, there comes a moment where the lines blur, where heroes meet legends and timelines fold into each other. Gen V has been slowly building toward that moment. You can feel it in the tone of the recent episodes, darker, heavier, more connected to the chaos brewing outside Godolkin's walls. The tension isn't just local anymore. It's universal. And that's why fans believe Episode 7 could mark the return of one of the boys' most dangerous forces, either Homelander, Soldier Boy, or maybe even Butcher himself. Whoever it is, their reappearance won't just be a cameo, it'll be a statement. Let's start with the most obvious candidate, Homelander. His shadow has been looming over Gen V since Episode 1. His influence on the world of soups is like gravity, invisible but inescapable. Every student at Godolkin grew up watching him, idolizing him, or fearing him. He's not just a hero, he's a religion. And if Episode 7 brings him back, it wouldn't be for fan service, it would be for control. Imagine Homelander arriving at Godolkin, not as a savior, but as a symbol of obedience. Vought could send him to restore order after the chaos of the previous episodes. His presence alone would silence rebellion. One glare from him could undo every spark of freedom Marie and her friends have been fighting for. But there's a darker possibility, that Homelander's arrival isn't sanctioned by Vought at all. Maybe he's acting on his own, hunting, testing, or judging. We've seen his fragile ego before. The moment someone else begins to shine too brightly, he steps in to snuff them out. If he senses that Godolkin's new generation might rival him, Episode 7 could turn into a massacre disguised as a lesson. And what's more chilling than Homelander reminding the world that there's still only one true God in the sky? Then there's Soldier Boy. His name keeps echoing through fan theories like a ghost that refuses to die. His connection to Compound V and Vought's earliest experiments makes him the perfect piece to reintroduce in Gen V. After all, the entire show is about the next generation of soups, and Soldier Boy is the first successful version of that dream. If Episode 7 reveals that Vought kept fragments of his DNA or consciousness, it could mean they're trying to clone him, replicate his power, or even resurrect him entirely. The return of Soldier Boy wouldn't just be nostalgic. It would be poetic. The first hero watching the new generation that replaced him, his own legacy twisted into a science experiment. But let's not forget the wild card, Billy Butcher. He's the antithesis of everything Vought stands for. A man who's seen too much and lost too much to ever stop fighting. While his presence in Gen V hasn't been confirmed, the narrative connection is too strong to ignore. If he were to appear in Episode 7, it could be through a hidden subplot, maybe an infiltration, a hidden alliance, or a secret message to Marie and her group. Butcher doesn't walk into a story without purpose. If he shows up, it means the war between humans and soups is about to escalate. He represents the final reminder that Vought's creations aren't just dangerous, they're unnatural. And his involvement could pull Gen V straight into the center of the boys' larger conflict. Now imagine how all of this ties together. Episode 7 could be the crossroads where Vought's grand experiment, the students' rebellion, and the legends of the boys converge. Picture it, the alarms blaring, students in panic, security teams locking down Godolkin, and then a familiar voice. Maybe it's Homelander landing in the courtyard with that cold smirk. Maybe it's Soldier Boy stepping out of a cryo chamber. Or maybe it's Butcher in the shadows, whispering into Marie's ear. You've got no idea what you're really part of. Each possible return tells a different story. If it's Homelander, it's about fear, the god returning to remind his children who rules them. If it's Soldier Boy, it's about legacy, the past refusing to die. If it's Butcher, it's about revolution, humanity's last stand against creation itself. But no matter who it is, Episode 7 would mark the moment when Gen V stops being